Tonight in Milwaukee, the preseason spotlight shines bright, and while the games don't count yet, the message does. The Bucks, undefeated this October, aim to cap their run against the reigning NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder, fast, confident, and cohesive, have been nearly untouchable, and history favors a close contest. Milwaukee wants to assert control early, but who shows up on the floor could tip the scales. This matchup could set the tone for both squads as they look ahead to the regular season. Stick around. The Hardwood Report starts right now. And greetings from our connected studio. I'm Ryder Bullock. Welcome to the Hardwood Report as we get you ready for a preseason matchup between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Milwaukee Bucks. For Milwaukee, it's been a preseason of reassurance. The trade chatter surrounding Giannis Antetokounmpo may hum in the background, but what's come to the forefront is a team that's playing hungrier, harder, and perhaps something to prove. Credit in part to General Manager John Horst, who's rebuilt this roster with an eye toward youth, energy, and the rarest preseason virtues, internal competition. And tonight, those battles take center stage. With roster cuts due in just 4 days, every minute, every possession carries consequence. Giannis Antetokounmpo seems safe, but beyond that, the final two roster spots are very much up for grabs. Chris Livingston, Andre Jackson Jr., Tyler Smith, and Amar Coffey all know this might be their last best audition. As for Oklahoma City, they arrive as the standard. A year ago, they conquered the NBA with a blend of poise and precociousness, rarely seen in a team so young. Since then, the front office has done exactly what you'd expect. Secure the core. MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, All-NBA third-teamer Jalen Williams, and the ever-evolving Chet Holmgren, all locked in, all committed to extending this window of excellence. This preseason, the Thunder have kept things light, resting stars, testing prospects, but the foundation remains clear, a culture of continuity and cohesion. Even the rookie Thomas Sober, sidelined by injury, the Thunder's future seems as secure as any in basketball. That game coming up in about 24 minutes from now, and we will, of course, cover that game. But we want to show you what's going on around the league. The Cleveland Cavaliers wrap up their brief preseason run tonight against the Detroit Pistons at 7 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland's preseason hasn't exactly inspired confidence, 0-3 after a 138-107 loss to Boston on Sunday. Still, this team knows October jitters don't define April success. They went winless in last year's preseason and followed that with their best regular season since 2010. As for Detroit, J.B. Bickerstaff, yes, the same man who led the Cavs not long ago, now patrols the Pistons bench. He's joined by former Cleveland assistants Luke Walton and Sidney Lowe, and even a familiar face on the floor in Chris LeVert. Cade Cunningham has looked strong through 2 games, fresh off a 26-point effort against Milwaukee. So the intrigue continues to build just a week before the regular season tips off. Cleveland and Detroit, 2 young teams trying to prove that last year's steps forward weren't flukes. We shift down to New Orleans, where the Houston Rockets continue their preseason tune-up tonight against the Pelicans. Ime Udoka said earlier this week that both tonight's game and Thursday's preseason finale will resemble regular season basketball, meaning more realistic rotations, truer minutes, and a clearer sense of how this team will operate once the game starts to count. Houston still shorthanded. Fred VanVleet is out for the season, and Dorian Finney-Smith won't return until after opening night. Jason Tate also remains sidelined with an ankle issue, but even without a full deck, there's intrigue. J.D. Davidson has quietly put together an impressive preseason. He may be forcing his way into Houston's plans for the Pelicans. No injuries to report, but you can bet they're watching closely. This is, after all, a divisional matchup. Tip-off at 8 p.m. Eastern Time from New Orleans. Preseason or not, when it's Rockets and Pelicans in the Big Easy, It's a little less about what you show and a little more about what you learn. The Nuggets host the Chicago Bulls tonight, but after that weekend dress rehearsal against the Clippers, this one will look a little different. The starters, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., are all expected to spend most of the evenings in warm-ups rather than in action. The focus instead shifts to the end of the bench. Players like Peyton Watson, Julian Strawweather, and Jalen Pickett, the 9th, 10th, and 11th men, fighting to earn steady minutes once the real season begins. The message from Denver's staff is clear. Stay healthy and get a look at the depth. That could make for some uneven basketball tonight, but it's valuable time for the next wave of Nuggets. And then there's Zeke Naji, a talented big man still trying to find his footing in a championship rotation. He's expected to get heavy minutes in these final preseason games, both to show his growth and perhaps to raise his value around the league. So, yes, the basketball might be a little clunky, but the stakes are real for the players trying to make their case. Tonight in Portland, where the Trailblazers and Golden State Warriors meet for the second time this preseason. Golden State took the opener last week in San Francisco, 129-123. But make no mistake, Portland has impressed. Okay, they've been impressive. Before Chauncey Billups went to his reserves, the Blazers core group had built a 97-79 lead, fueled by a 39-point first quarter and 73 in the first half. They followed that effort with a 1-point win over Sacramento, 124-123, back home at the Moda Center. 7 Blazers reached double figures in that game. Jamari Grant with 18, Shadon Sharp with 17, and the rookie Yang Hansen adding 16 points and 3 blocks, a name worth watching as preseason winds down. Golden State, meanwhile, comes off a 126-116 loss to the Lakers. Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler III, and Al Horford sat out that game, but Braden Trudinsky made the most of his opportunity, 23 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds in extended minutes. Both teams are entering their penultimate tune-up before the regular season, the final chance to experiment before rotations tighten and the lights brighten. As for injuries, Scott Henderson, Robert Williams III, Matisse Thybulle, and Damian Lillard remain out for Portland, while DeAnthony Melton won't go for Golden State. So a second look at 2 teams heading in different directions. The Warriors chasing polish, the Blazers building identity. Tip-off from the Moda Center tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. We turn to Phoenix, where the Los Angeles Lakers visit the Suns for the final preseason game before the regular season looms just a week away. Tonight carries added intrigue. Luka Doncic makes his preseason debut after resting through the earlier exhibition games. A strategic ramp-up after his summer with the Slovenian national team in Eurobasket. Marcus Smart will also make his first appearance as the Lakers look to fine-tune rotations without LeBron James, sidelined with a hip injury for at least another 2 to 3 weeks. Coach J.J. Redick says the goal is to get Doncic ready, testing minutes and lineups carefully. For the Suns, this is their only home preseason game after a pair of globe-trotting contests against Brooklyn and China. They travel was grueling, but their value and experience, building chemistry, resilience, and shared rhythm. Tonight, back in the Valley, it's about one last opportunity to tighten rotations, refine chemistry, and feel the pulse of home once more. Injuries for the Suns, Mark Williams is out, Jalen Green is questionable. For the Lakers, LeBron James is out, Maxi Kelber is out, Adu Thiro is questionable. So the rotations will be the story in that game. Every minute, every combination is a chance to discover patterns that will guide both teams once the regular season begins. The season isn't here yet, but you can almost feel it breathing just beyond the horizon. Tip-off at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Bucks Thunder coming up in about 17 minutes, and as we get set for tip-off tonight between the Thunder and the Bucks, we take a look at the reigning kings of the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder, a team so young, so connected, and so relentless They stormed their way to 68 wins in the first championship in franchise history. In 24-25, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the league's most valuable player, the face of a new generation, and the heartbeat for Oklahoma City's rise. Alongside him, Jalen Williams blossomed into an all-star, and Chet Holmgren became the modern prototype for a two-way big man. Together, they lead OKC to the best record in the NBA, the most double-digit wins in league history, and ultimately, the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Now, as training camp opens, the Thunder's message is simple. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're running it back, almost entirely intact, re-signing Gilgeous-Alexander, Holmgren, and both Williamses, Jalen, to long-term deals. Their lone draft edition big man Thomas Sober will miss this season with an ACL injury, and last year's first-rounder Nikola Topic is ready to make his debut after his own recovery. So the Thunder bring back 95% of their minutes from last year's championship team, a group that was the youngest in the NBA, yet led the league in point differential and forced turnovers. Their defense ferocity was historic. 3 players ranked in the top 7 in steals, and when OKC got stops, they turned them into points faster than anyone. The question now, can they keep that edge? It's easy to play hungry when you're chasing something, harder when you're defending it. But for a team this young, with this much talent, experience may be the only thing they were missing. Now they've got that too. And while Oklahoma City celebrates its rise to the top, a familiar face in Milwaukee is still searching for a way back there. 4 years removed from their last title, the Bucks are trying to climb that mountain again, this time with a very different team around Giannis Antetokounmpo. Last season was a roller coaster in Milwaukee, a slow start, a midseason turnaround, and a first-round playoff exit. Again, at 48-34, the Bucks showed flashes of greatness, winning the Emeritus NBA Cup midseason, but when it mattered most, their playoff struggles resurfaced. Now, with Giannis entering his 13th season, the organization made sweeping changes to surround their two-time MVP with new life and fresh legs. Chris Middleton was traded to Washington. Damian Lillard, recovering from a torn Achilles, was waived to clear space. And with Brook Lopez gone, the Bucks turned to one of the league's perimeter two-way bigs, Miles Turner. Turner arrives 10 seasons removed from Indiana. His rim protection and floor spacing, a near-perfect replacement for Lopez. He's the X factor in Milwaukee's latest reinvention. A 39% shooter from deep, 2 blocks per game, and a veteran who's seen playoff wars. He gives Giannis room to operate, and the Bucks something they've lacked the past few years, which is balance. But the question remains, is this the right mix to make Milwaukee a contender again? The East is wide open. Boston's dealing with injuries. Indiana's dealing with injuries. Miami's roster is in flux. Philadelphia is still searching for answers. So for Giannis and the Bucks, that window may not stay open for long. For Milwaukee, this season isn't about redemption. It's about reinvention. Can this new cast help Giannis reclaim the crown that once defined the Deer District? And when you talk about the reinvention of the Bucks, Miles Turner is right at the forefront, standing nearly 7 feet tall, a 2-time block leader, and a player who can stretch the floor with a 3-point shot. Turner has spent the last decade turning heads in Indiana. Now in Milwaukee, he's on a mission, not just to protect the rim, but to chase that elusive championship. Tonight, we take a closer look at the journey, the growth, and the game of Miles Turner. In the annals of the NBA, few players embody the duality of fearsome defense and versatile offense quite like Miles Turner. Born Miles Christian Turner on March 24, 1996 in Bedford, Texas, Turner's journey from a 6-year-old with a basketball in hand to the cornerstone of Milwaukee's championship aspirations reads like a case study in persistence, resilience, and quiet excellence. Turner's formative years were marked by bureaucracy and promise. By the time he reached Central Junior High, standing already at 6'2", he was orchestrating wins with the poise of a player several years his senior. High school brought trials as well as triumphs. An ankle break between his sophomore and junior years might have derailed a lesser athlete. Turner, however, responded with a relentless regimen of strength training and skill refinement, returning stronger, more agile, and more determined. By his senior year, averaging over 18 points, 12 rebounds, and nearly 7 blocks per game, Turner had solidified his place among the nation's elite prospects, the number 2 center behind Jahlil Okafor. A brief but impactful season at Texas only reinforced what scouts already knew. Turner was a rare combination of shot blocking, saving, and fluid offensive player. Declaring for the 2015 NBA Draft, he was selected 11th overall by the Indiana Pacers, a franchise that would serve as both proving ground and showcase for his talents over the next decade. Turner's rookie campaign foreshadowed the career he would build, a player capable of protecting the rim with authority, finishing around the basket, and contributing on offense with a touch beyond the arc that belies his 6'11" frame. Over 10 years with Indiana, Turner grew from promising rookie into a franchise cornerstone, leading the league in blocks twice and establishing himself as the Pacers' all-time leader in that category. Yet, despite his individual accolades, a championship eluded him until his final year in Indianapolis, when he guided the Pacers to the 2025 NBA Finals, falling just short in a hard-fought 7-game series. And so, in July of 2025, Turner made a bold leap, joining the Milwaukee Bucks on a 4-year, $107 million contract. The move, a mix of strategic foresight and a hunger for a championship, placed him alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo in a roster steeped in playoff experience. Turner's game, rim protection, versatile scoring, and now even greater perimeter shooting fits seamlessly into Milwaukee's blueprint. Coach Doc Rivers and General Manager John Horst see it in Turner not only a defensive anchor, but a player capable of punishing mismatches, stretching the floor, and embracing a larger role than ever before. Yet, beyond stats and contracts, Turner is defined by character. He speaks candidly about the bittersweet nature of leaving the Pacers, of shared battles and locker room bonds that only 10 seasons of shared struggle can forge. He is a player who understands the stakes, who has tasted the edge of victory, and yearns to convert that taste into lasting glory. At 29, Miles Turner is in the prime of his career, a player who blends the cerebral with the physical, the past with the potential, and the individual brilliance with team purpose. For Milwaukee, he is not merely a signing, he is a statement that the Bucks are serious, that they are poised to contend, and that Turner's next chapter may well be the one where he finally lifts the trophy he has chased for so long. In the quiet moments, standing 6'11", gazing down from the paint to the hardwood below, Miles Turner has always been more than a center. He is a bridge between promise and legacy, a man whose journey from Bedford to the Bucks embodies the very essence of professional basketball, a game of skill, heart, and unyielding pursuit. Miles Turner isn't just a player. You could call him a game changer. From shot-blocking servant to floor-stretching threat, he's the centerpiece of Milwaukee's title push. Tonight, all eyes will be on how he sets the tone inside and out. And speaking of setting the tone, let's break down the keys to this game. Number 1, Milwaukee's momentum. The Bucks come in with a perfect 3-0 preseason record. They've beaten Eastern Conference foes comfortably. Miami 103-93, Detroit 117-111, and Chicago 127-121. With Giannis Antetokounmpo anchoring the front court alongside Miles Turner in a starting five that includes Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr., Milwaukee's chemistry is clicking. Expect them to set the tone early. Key number 2, Oklahoma City's injury pileup. The Thunder enter this game in a state of flux. They're going to flex because they're in a flux. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren are all day-to-day, joining Nikola Topic and Kendrick Williams and Thomas Sober on the sidelines. That's a lot of talent missing from a team already struggling through a 2-2 preseason. Depth will be tested, and Milwaukee's defense should capitalize. Key number 3 is bench and depth play. Milwaukee's bench has been solid all preseason, providing scoring bursts and defensive stops. Meanwhile, the Thunder reserve will have to carry significant weight if starters are unavailable. This is where the game could tilt decisively in favor of the Bucks. Now, let's take a look at the betting line, the money line. Bucks are favored at -190, while OKC comes in at +155. Point spread, the Oklahoma City Thunder are a 5.5-point favorite. The total over-under is set at 232.5. The odds clearly favor Milwaukee, reflecting both the injury concerns in OKC. The Bucks are dominating the preseason form, but this is a reminder, preseason basketball can be unpredictable and lineups are fluid. So, if Milwaukee plays with the same intensity they've shown in their first 3 preseason games, they'll finish 4-0 and send a strong message ahead of the regular season. For the Thunder, it's about getting whatever continuity they can build with or without their stars. So keep an eye on Giannis inside and watch how Miles Turner controls the paint and see if Kevin Porter Jr. can keep the offense flowing. And for the betting crowd, the Bucks are the favorite. The over-under is high, and the spread is one to consider carefully given the Thunder's unpredictable lineup. And those are the keys to tonight's matchup. Milwaukee looking to stay perfect, OKC trying to find its footing. That'll do it for me. I will see you at halftime. We now send you courtside to tonight's game.